Good morning, class. So at this point you guys have done check your skills, and that was on page 36. That's correct. At this point you have done check your skills in preparation for your upcoming exam, or your cycle test, which is taking place tomorrow. Okay. Thanks to those of you who did it, and those of you who forgot it at home. I would like to see a picture of it this afternoon. Okay. This is exercise 1.26. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do number one. I'm going to do the table. I know the table for the number system is always a point where you don't get all 5 marks or all 3 marks, whatever the marks allocated to this section is. So I'm just going to check your skills. This is exercise 1.26, page 36. 36. Okay. You see, we always just put the first page it's on. Then after, to get 37 is much easy. Not so? Right, so let's do this quickly. Again, when you go through these videos, just look on the screen where you see this. That basically tells you exactly which page we are on. Okay. I always try and keep that in focus. Alright, the first question, people, in number A, they ask to complete the table. Insert yes or no. I'm going to put a yes, a tick, and a no, a cross. Okay. In each block. So 2 over 3 multiplied by, just get the calculator. We've got 2 over 3 multiplied by, again, to make a mixed number, we press shift and that fraction button. Again, mixed number is 4 and 1 over 2. Then you get an answer of 3. So when we complete this table, we are completing the table for 3. Okay, you guys understand? And not the sum itself, you're looking at the answer there. So 3 is natural, it's a whole number, it is an integer, it's rational, it's not irrational and real. You're all okay with that? 0 over 4 gives you an answer of 0. So it's no, yes, 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 no, yes. Is there 4 over 0? That is an undefined solution. You put that in the calculator, you get an answer like that, a math error. So it's undefined. So it's none of these. It's not the real number. So it's a non-real number there. Negative 3, 1 for 1, 5, 6. Does that number stop? Yes. Why does it carry on there? Does it show dots there? No, the number stops. So this is what we call a terminating decimal number, which is also a rational number. Okay. 0, 125, 125, the number stops. Not so. Again, an example of a terminating decimal number. Looking at the next one. Does this number recur? No, not yet, no. A recurring number would have been 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, and so on. That's a recurring decimal. But this is it following a pattern? No. So this is an example of an irrational number. Okay. What did the textbook's answer say at the back? They say rational or irrational? Irrational. So I'm feeling better. The square root of 9 plus 4, we must add it first before we take the square root. The 9 plus 4 is 13. The root thereof is a third, so it's no, 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 yes and yes. So it's irrational then. Let's pull this down here. The next one. The square root of 25 plus 144 is going to give you a square root of 169, which is 30. Is that correct? So it's yes, 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 yes. So remember that is your irrational. So it's no and yes. You all agree with that? Pi is a form of it's a irrational number. It's an irrational number there. The square root of negative 4, that's also one of those math error situations there. So it's a non-real number there. You all okay with that? Right. From here onwards, it's selected sums. Any problems with number 2? Any issues here with number 2? You just call it out. I'll do it on the board, okay? So if you had a problem, you must tell me. Ne? So now problems with number 2. Number 3? 3C. Any other problems there? For number 3? No problems, okay? So it's just 3C. You see, in 3C, it's a bit different to what we normally have dealt with, okay, what we were exposed to. So when we start by saying let x equals 0, 1, 2, 5. So what number goes next? 1 to 5 or 2, 5? 2, 5. Because at the top, the recurring is only on the 2 and the 5. Can you see that? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get the recurring number. You see that 1 is not recurring. Not so? So I'm going to multiply this by 10. You'll see now why. So it's going to be 10x is equal to, this is going to be 1, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, and so on. Okay? Now how many numbers are now recurring? 2. So it's either multiply that in blue by 1,000, or we multiply this line by 100. So 100 times 10 is 1,000. If I multiply this by 100, it's going to move it 2 units. So it's 1, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5. Can you see that? If I multiply the first line by 1,000, then you will get the same solution. Not so. So what we do now? Now we subtract, we change the signs. We are doing it between these two values, these two lines, okay? And why are we doing this? Because this is not what we normally deal with. Remember, the comma is always in front of the recurring number, and we move the comma over to whatever amount of numbers is recurring. Okay, and we multiply it by the unit of 10, multiples of 10. Not multiples, but 10 to whatever exponent. So it's going to be 10x minus 1,000x is going to give you 990x. Not so. If I subtract, it's going to be minus. Okay? So, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5 cancels that. Not so. So it's 1 minus 1, 2, 5. So it's negative 1, 2. So what do I do now? Divide both sides by negative 990. So that cancels. So x is equal to, you put in your calculator, negative 124 over negative 990 gives you 62 over 695, I think it was, no? 49. But what do we do here? We press easily, see here. You see exactly what we have there. 0, 1, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5. Can you see that, people? Why is there 3 in the last term? Because I rounded it off. The 5, the last number is going to be a 2, but the number prior to that is a 5. We change that now to that. Okay? But you guys understand? Okay? Let's go to number 3. Sorry, number 4. Any problems with number 4? The straight multiplication here. No problems with number 4? There's something I want to show you here from 4C and D. You guys went and you multiplied the whole long story out, no? I'll show you something. And this is what we're going to do in advanced maths, okay? This is going to be a topic I'm going to introduce at the school, hopefully this year. If we got enough learners, we need at least, I think, 8 learners to do this. Otherwise, we're going to sit with 1 or 2 of you. It's not going to make sense, okay? It's basically dealing with some topics that is taught at university. Okay, and it gives you a bigger picture of what maths is going to become at university. Okay, and it helps a lot. Most of the people who does this advanced maths, most of them gets an A for maths. In the normal maths settings, they get the A for maths at the end of grade 12, because this allows you to think at a much, much higher level. Okay, but looking at this here, what do we see? Okay, there are C's in the sun, but what do we see? Sorry? You got 2A plus 2B, yes? In both? No. So if you put this bracket around here, what do you see? Common factor. Common bracket. We common bracket when we factorize. We are multiplying here. Yes, it will result in difference of two squares. Remember, if that 2A plus 2B was an x, then this is what it's going to do. Not so. If that 2A plus 2B was an x, then it would be x minus c into x plus c. And how do you simplify this? That will simply be x squared minus c squared. Not so? Right. You say, oh, there's not O there, my girl. But what do you notice now? That is exactly the same setting here. So I can just multiply the first and the last. So in other words, I got 2A plus 2B all squared minus c squared. Not so? Which now result in a binomial squared. Which now gives us 2A all squared is going to give you 4A squared. That times 2 will be plus 8AB. The last term squared will be plus 4B squared minus c squared. Isn't that much shorter than what you did? Right? Let's look at D as well. But if you guys are going to do that subject, it's the exciting subject to do. Sorry? And you will write an exam for this. Okay, an extra exam. And you'll get, when you apply to university, you'll get extra credits for it. Okay?
So if you do it, like, is it going to be that maths and then like still the small one? So it's an extra subject?
It's an extra subject. You'll do it in the afternoon. One afternoon after school. No? Don't you understand after school?
No.
Come, you must stop being so lazy. You must remember at the end of the day, and I tell you this often, at the end of the day you must take your education into your own hands. Okay? So I'm just offering it to you. If you're going to make use of it, it will benefit. Okay? Alright, let's look here. Here we got 2A plus 2B minus C. 2A. What's going to happen if I take a negative out as a common factor? It's going to then be 2A minus C. What do you notice now? Is it not again the conjugate pair?
Isn't it 2B minus C?
2B, yes, absolutely. 2B minus C. My mistake, eh? But still resulting into the conjugate pair. They're exactly the same, 1 plus 1 minus. So what do we do here? We can multiply the first and the last, which is going to give us 4A squared minus 2B minus C all squared. The conjugate pair there, the binomial squared. So it's going to be 2B all squared is going to give you 4B squared times negative 4B squared. That times 2. It's going to give you 2BC times 2 is negative 4BC. Times the negative becomes positive 4BC. And the last term squared is positive C squared. Right? And you guys went and multiplied all that. If you got the same answer, it's fine. But like I'm saying, just to simplify your something, if you know your rules, it's going to be of a benefit to us as life goes on. Okay? I'm sure most of you want an A or a good mark for maths and matric. Not so? Even if you come out of that subject and you wrote your final exam and you come out with a 40% or 50% in that advanced maths, it's going to be 40% of work that you have never would have learnt anyway. You understand? Even if you're 50% in maths and you do the subject and you come out with 30% for that subject, at the end of the day, it's 30% of work that you have never would have done anyway. You understand? So it will strengthen your normal maths as well. Okay. So let's give it a try. Eh? I'm excited. I've taught the subject before at the previous school I was at. I wasn't so good at it, but I'll give it another try. Okay. But there was a learner who got an A, but I'm sure it wasn't because of me. No? Because he taught me some stuff. No? But it's a very, very exciting subject. Okay. For me it was. Right, people? Question 5 or number 5? Any issues here? C. Any other problems? Number 5C. The question is to factorize and yes, and never mind. What number is that? Right, who managed to do this one? Zoe? Why is your hand up? No. Okay. People, what do you notice here? What do you notice? Okay, go for it. What do you notice? The common bracket, okay, so you got P plus Q. Then now left it, take one number out, P plus Q minus 2 plus 1. Is that what you say? But this is not correct because P plus Q is not in the last term. So there's no common bracket there. Let's try again. Let's simplify the sum of it. Okay, let's say let P plus Q equal K. I'm going to make the sum look a bit easier. Okay, simple. So what is the sum now reading? K squared minus 2K plus 1. So what is this to us? Perfect square trinomial is. Which is what? K minus or plus? Minus 1. But what is K? P plus Q minus 1. And there we go. You should see a trinomial. Do you see the trinomial there? That's it. It's a perfect square trinomial. Right. Any other problems here, people, before we move on? No other problems, no? Right. Then we went on to number 6. Any issues in number 6? A. Huh? D. So 6D. And A. Okay, that one's getting greedy there. A and D. Alright. Yes? Sorry? Bathroom. Every day you drink a whole can of Coke. Make quick. Make quick. Right. People, first term, there's a binomial squared. The first term squared is what? A squared. That times 2. It's negative 4A plus 4. Plus 2 into A squared plus 2A plus 1. Now what? Times the 2A. So you're going to get A squared minus 4A plus 4. Plus 2A squared plus 4A plus 2. Now what? Like that. It's going to give us 3A squared. That cancels. plus 6. Right, who asked this question? Where did you go wrong? In the bracket here. Now, many is going to make that mistake on this question. Many is going to say it's going to be a squared plus 1. Is that what you said? Yeah. You see, what the learner does, they square the first term, they square the second term. But then I forget the middle term. If you are a student and making that mistake, then rather write it out twice. And then you multiply the story out. Then you shouldn't get the sum wrong. Okay? So in future, you don't apply the binomial. It will take you an extra step, but you are not going to lose that marks. Okay? Let's look at D. Sorry? Not D. And you needed D, okay? And B. That is a B, as a D, as a A, as alles, so, sort you out. As long as there's nobody need a C, ne? Okay, I don't know, I don't think pause now at this point. Alright, so again, the mistake was here. So, the simplification. So just simplify the numbers. Don't simplify the variables, rather simplify the variables in the next step. Again, it will take one step extra, but you won't necessarily lose anything, man, or overlook as we normally do. We overlook things then. Okay, and then D was the next problem, ne? From number 7D. That's 7D. People, how many terms are here? How many terms are here? One term. What makes it one term? No plus or minus signs between. So no separation of terms. So of course change to multiplication first. So it's AB squared C cubed over 4y cubed times 3ay squared over C times ay over 6c times 8b over c. So what do I do here now? The numbers. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 8, 4 times. That 4 cancels that. So in terms of the numbers, there's nothing left. You all okay with that? Which now gives us A is going to give you A cubed on top. B squared, and B is B cubed. C cubed, C cubed. So that's accounted for. We accounted for A, for y squared and y cubed. We accounted for A, we accounted for y, we accounted for B. Over y cubed is the first one. C times C times C, C cubed. Or it could have been y cubed, C cubed, it's the same. You all okay with that? So what do we have now? The y cubes cancels. C cube cancel. Leave you with A cube, B cube over 1, which is A cube, B cube. Who asked for 7D? Who's me? At the back, yes? Where did you go wrong, Michael? You didn't simplify the 6. So your variables are the same. This is the number that's the issue. Okay? You'll just lose 1 mark, don't worry about it. Or you want all your marks? Okay. Now then you must worry. Alright. Let's go to the next one. Question 8. Any issues there? B. Hey, we've got 10 minutes left. No? So we must just wrap it up now. 8B. Okay, 8B and C. B. So in 8b, what you should notice here is that you have almost a common bracket if you swap that around, not so? Is that correct? So if you're going to swap that around, the sign is going to change, it becomes negative 7 into x minus 2. Not so? And there's an x here at the back, I'm going to write it in front as well. So it's negative 7x into x minus 2. So what is common now? So that is out. No? What is common? The common bracket, which is x minus 2. What are we left with? X squared minus, why do you get 10? 7x? Oh, I had to swap that also. So there's two swapping around I had to do. Normally it's just one swapping around that I had to do. But this one was 2, so that x I'm writing in front. X minus 2, swap around, becomes positive 10 into x minus 2. You will never see me swap the first term around. Never. Otherwise you will have the first term as a negative, which we don't want either. Okay? So what is now common? X minus 2. You're now left with x squared minus 7x plus 10. So what is this to us? Trinomial. Okay? Which is simply, what goes on the line? 1 and 1, 1 and 10, 2 and 5. You add or subtract the product. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. You add, you get 7. And that's what I want. It's an x and a 2, or x and a 7. A 5. Yo, why you shouted at me? I was answering you. What about our signs? Same sign or opposite sign? Same sign. Yeah, I'm writing against 7. Same sign or opposite sign? Same. Both is going to be negative. So what do you notice? That's the same thing. It's x minus 2 squared into x minus. Any issues there, people? Right. Then you said C was the issue, no? Not C. C. Yes. Yes. Then you just lose 1 mark, Michael. Again, if you don't want all your marks, then you just do what you want to do. But you want all your marks, then you know you need to do everything. People 7 and C. What type of factorization here? Difference of 2 squares. What's the square root of a minus b all squared? A minus b. Not so. What's the square root of 4a squared? 2a. So it's going to be a minus b plus 2a, a minus b minus 2. Now what? A plus 2a is 3a minus b. What's a minus 2a? Minus a minus b. Not so. What do you notice about the second bracket? Is a negative as a common factor must come out. So if you take a negative out, you never put it between. You put it in front. So it's going to be a plus b. Okay. What is the problem here? What was the problem? Who asked this question? Didn't take out. Of course you're going to lose a mark. Okay. Remember, whenever the first term is negative, you must take it out as a common factor. People, what's the next problem? D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, J, K? No? Okay. Right? People are definitely going to swap this around. Negative comes out. So it will become x minus 1 into x minus 1 plus x minus 1 y. You didn't have to write that out, guys. Okay, just write it out so you guys can see what's happening there. Okay. People, what is common now? X minus y. Now if you take out x minus y as a common factor, what you left in the first term with x minus 1. But take out x minus 1 as a common factor, then what we left with? That's 1. You understand? You guys understand? Right, who asked this question? Yes, where did you go wrong? Okay, you're not going to make the same mistake, no? Right. Anybody else? Next is K? No? L? M? Number 9. A and B. A and B, okay. And that's the last of it, not so? Right. Number 9A. I'm going to go quickly through this as we've got only 4 minutes left before the bell ring, I think, according to my time, which is always wrong. Right, people, this is going to be a binomial cube. So I'll write it out thrice and multiply it. I was going to do it on the side because there are a lot of calculations involved here. So in other words, there's going to be x minus 2 into x minus 2 times x minus 2. In other words, this is a binomial squared here, not so. So that's going to could have also be written as x minus 2 into x minus 2 squared. Why do I do that? Because I'm familiar with the binomial square rule. Again, if you're not, you write that twice, you multiply the story out. X minus 2. First term squared is x squared. That times 2 is negative 4x plus the last term squared. You multiply that story out, gives me x cubed minus 4x squared plus 4x. You multiply the negative 2 in. It's going to give you negative 2x squared plus 8x minus 8. Again, you get x cubed. Like terms here, it's negative 6x squared plus 12x minus 8. That's when I multiply that out. Okay. Then, you say plus 7 into. Multiply this out. Binomial by binomial. You're going to get x squared plus 2x minus x positive x minus 2 minus your binomial squared, which is x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, so what do we do now? We multiply, get rid of the brackets. So you got the x cubed minus 6x squared plus 12x minus 8 plus 7x squared plus 7x minus 14 minus x squared plus 4x minus 4. Now what do we do now? We add like terms. That is just before the calculator. No? Right. So x cubed is on its own. X squared, x squared, x squared. So it's negative 6x squared plus 7x squared is positive x squared minus gone. Not so. 12x plus 7x is 19x. Will be positive 23x. You all agree with that? Negative 8 minus 14. Negative 22. Minus 4. Negative 26. Is that correct? Right. Now I'm feeling better about myself now. Where did you guys go wrong? Don't tell me everywhere. Where did you go wrong? Come in. Don't be like that. Is this where you went wrong? But you now see what you must do, no? People, let's do the last one before the bell rings. You see now, for those of you who forgot your assignment at home, how can you see what you got right and wrong? How you gonna know what you got right and wrong? Oh, you know what? You're getting smart, ne? Right. Let's do this. How many times are here? 3. Then multiply it out, I get x squared. X times negative 3y, negative 3x. Negative y times x, negative xy. Negative 4xy. Negative y times negative 3y is positive 3y squared. Minus binomial squared. First term squared, x squared. That times 2 is positive 2xy plus y squared. Again, if you don't know how to apply the binomial square rule, do not keep yourself brave. Write out twice, you multiply. This here, we're multiplying it. Why? Because there's no sign between. Gives you x squared plus 6xy. So what do we do now? Multiply, get rid of the brackets. X squared minus 4xy plus 3y squared. Minus, yes. 3xy. The first line. Yeah. Yeah. That was going to give you negative 3xy minus xy is negative 4xy. You understand? So that's going to give you plus x squared plus 6xy. So x squared cancels x squared, leaves you with x squared. Negative 4xy minus 2xy is negative 6xy. Also cancel. Not so? 3y squared minus y squared will be positive 2y squared. Is that the right answer? Yes. Right. Where did you guys go wrong here? Who asked this question? Yes. The 4xy. Remember again, if you're getting this middle term always wrong, you multiply that out, you get that. Then you get negative 3xy minus xy plus 3y squared. Then if you add that, you won't get the square. But what I'm doing is I'm doing it in my head, so I skip that step. But with you, you can write it out, write it all out and then add. People enjoy the rest of your day. And no homework today because we're writing tomorrow. Alright. Oh, you're going to feel weird since you have no homework. Must I give you something to do? Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day.